Hey, it's Nate.
Hey, it's Brian.
It's Barry.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Collecti-Bros podcast. Topic at hand today is console accessories, but for
Peripherals.
Peripherals.
I knew you were going to do it.
Oh, shit. It's one I've been trying to collect for a little bit, but it's one every time I see something new and there's so much variety with it, it really opens up to like licensed stuff, unlicensed stuff, and it's a wild world of weird and strange stuff. It's really fun to collect for. We're going to share some that we have in our collection, and if we have time, we'd like to talk about some that we'd like to get. So before we begin on that, we're going to try to talk about what we've been playing and anything we've picked up lately. Brian, what are you playing? You got any pickups lately?
Yeah, so as far as playing goes, I talked about it in episode 2 ago that I picked up Like a Dragon Ishin. And I think it's funny because I was talking about how I wasn't going to start a game that was super long. And I started like literally a game that's 150 hours to 100%. But man, I am loving every single minute of this game. I've never 100% in any of the Yakuza games in the past. I've just kind of like briefly played the story and stopped.
What is this game
So
about?
this one's interesting because it's the first time that they've had one of the Japanese exclusive Yakuza games come to the States. And this one is basically a retelling of like ancient feudal Japan, where it's almost like a play from the characters from the Yakuza games are playing as a historical figure. And it's during feudal Japan with the time of the emperor just lost power, and basically the samurai and the ruling class have been ruling for like 300 years, and there's a caste system, and your main character is trying to overthrow the caste system. And I'm not super familiar with like history, so I know the accuracy is not 100% because they just have to make it Yakuza up and make it more dramatic and whatever. But it is cool. It's based off of real characters, so there is some. I've watched a lot of comparison videos on YouTube, and it's like a good introductory to these characters and these historical figures. But
Giant crabs.
Yeah, no giant crabs. Nope, sorry.
Bad.
Yeah, I know. The combat's really cool in a sense that like previous Yakuza games, you had your brawler style. You beat them up. You might be able to pick up a weapon like a bicycle or a street sign and beat them up with that. But this one, you can switch between 4 styles, so you can have just the samurai sword. They have the traditional brawler style, but the heat actions, which if you guys have ever played Yakuza, you know what that means. But for those of you that haven't, you basically fill up a meter and it's like a special attack, right? And it does like a really cool animation that's like pre-rendered. So like if you're by a wall and you push the heat button, you can like slam them into the wall or throw them into the river. The heat actions are crazy in this one because of the sword. I mean, it's very visceral. It's very quick. I mean, your enemies have a lot of health bars like typical Yakuza games, but it's totally different as far as playing it because of the sword and because of the range attacked with the gun. So the combat's really unique and interesting to the series, but it still feels like Yakuza and like the best way of going backwards. The mini games are great. There's like some classics, like fishing is still the same as it is in Yakuza 5 through 6. The gambling, there's chicken races. I've put way more time in the chicken racing than I'm willing to admit on this podcast. Damn near my favorite Yakuza game in the series. Like it's just,
Damn, that's big.
yeah, man, it's
I
great.
know you liked Like a Dragon a lot.
Man, this one is.
You like this better?
I've been waiting for this game for a long time too, because like I never had a Japanese PS3.
So tell us about this shooter or whatever.
I was getting there. Y'all get to live my heartbreak with me. So, notorious in the Yakuza games are some of the mini games for the 100% completion. This one, everyone's telling me like, oh, the quarters in mini games are like impossible. Like, good luck with that. So basically, there's a friendship level you have to fill up with every side character. Sometimes they're store vendors. You just buy enough product from them, and a side quest will appear. So starts out with her, and you have to drink sake. It's like a drinking mini game where you have to like tilt the cup back, but it's a giant bowl. That one, no problem. The second game is rock, paper, scissors, and it's like, okay, whatever, sure, this is easy. You get 3 cheats, so you can like see what she's doing in slow-mo. So you're up 3-0. I did that, and I was like, all right, cool. Then the last sensual healing mini game, it's a bullet.
God.
Yeah, it's a bullet hell. So you're basically just your character, your ship, if you will, is your character just standing there in his underwear in like a praying pose. You have to shoot all these words that are falling down from like, the top, and you have to hit this heart 3 times. And this heart is so tiny and your character is so big and your bullets are so small. And it's wild, bro. Like, I was sitting there sweating it, and I've just heard about how difficult this is and how it's like, oh man, this is why no one's going to get 100% in this game, blah, blah, blah. Finally did it. I'm literally like shaking, immediately start texting Barry and they like, I just did the fucking minigame, let's go. Fuck yeah, I just killed it. So now I get the achievement for beating all the cores and minigames. I'm like, there we go, boom, checked it off the completion list. Go back and look at the completion list. Yeah, and then I see it says novice. And I'm thinking, there's no difficulty selection. What do you mean? Like, I just sit here and sweated, freaked out, like immediately put the controller down and texted Nate and Barry how hype I was because I thought I was going to be able to 100% this game now. And no, that's just for the achievement. So the completion list is completely separate, and I want you to do every single difficulty level. Yeah, my heart was broken just a little bit. I was literally so like emotionally distraught. I was so excited, like, I'm finally going to 100% this. I got a long way to go.
Yeah, I don't understand how that can get any harder.
Bro, I'm too scared right now. Like, it took so much like energy from me to actually just do it on easy, apparently, which is ridiculous, that I'm like, I'm just going to wait.
Nate, have you played it?
I have not played it. I haven't picked it up yet. I intend to. I'm a fan of the series too. Brian's probably put more hours into more of them than I have, but I've always liked the series and obviously Sega, so I am a fan. I will definitely pick the copy of this up.
I've heard a lot of really good things about it.
I will say, to try to find my physical copy, I don't know if it's just here, if it's everywhere, or if it's just modern games nowadays, but I had to drive all over town to find my copy. Maybe I should have pre-ordered it, but
it's probably easier to find on PlayStation than Xbox if I had to guess.
That's the stupid thing, is you can't run around and find new games anymore because they expect you to pre-order them, and they're like, well, you need to pre-order, because I had the same problem with Crisis Core in December. I was like,
it's hard as fuck
I'm like, this game comes out, like, went to GameStop that day, and they were like, oh, well, I don't know if I have any in the back. You probably should have pre-ordered it to lock in your copy. And I'm like, it's a brand new game
Final
that you
Fantasy.
can order.
they don't have, they do that shit.
So he went in the back and he pulled one out. I said, I guess I didn't have to pre-order it, huh? He just gave me the dirtiest look, and I paid for it and left.
There you go. As far as collecting, Barry and I have been just scoring astronomically. Like, I've had insane pickups, but I've been condensing it through the episodes. I'm still talking about stuff I grabbed on our first epic haul.
Give me two of the coolest ones you've gotten in the last couple weeks.
Oh, the coolest ones? This is easy. Barry and I, we were just like, hey, let's hang and do some game hunting. There's a Chrono Trigger on the other side of town. I want to go look at.
Is that the day that I said I was looking for Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
yeah. I was specifically looking for Devil May Cry games. I was like, Brian, you want to go? He's like, yeah.
Maybe someday we can all go together.
I mean, honestly, the way Barry and I have been scoring, bud.
I know.
I tell you.
We've been killing it. Like, not exaggerating. Like, every time it's like, hey, we got to stop doing this because I need money for food.
Bro, you know it's a good score when I walk out of there with a stack.
Right.
I never do.
No, man, we both had stacks on stacks on stacks. But obviously the big standout for me, cool story with it too. So we go look at this copy of Chrono Trigger on the other side of town, and no map. And I'm like,
for the DS.
Yeah,
the DS.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, if that was any like, Super Nintendo price, I would have been like, I don't care. But yeah, it was for the DS, and super clean copy. It was like $109. Pretty good price. And even the guy behind the counter was like, "Oh, you're taking my birthday gift, like, to yourself, like, whatever."
Yeah, it was
bro.
weird. He was like, "Oh man, you're looking at my birthday gift," and we're both looking at each other like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I was gonna spend my birthday money on this." I'm like, "Good for you, man." He's like, "But I haven't gotten paid yet." I'm like, "So your paycheck? You're just gonna use your paycheck?"
No, that store messed up paychecks. No way.
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
He did that weird thing where he was like, "Oh man, I was looking at
Don't buy
this," to
that,
try and like
please.
guilt trip you into not buying it, and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna buy. Happy birthday. I'll leave this here for you."
Yeah.
No, dude, I don't care.
Right.
I'm on the hunt.
Every birthday is closer to your death day, sir.
Every man for himself out here.
That's right. It's Chrono Trigger, bro.
You ain't got the money, get out.
So we were peeping it, and we were looking at like eBay's, and I was like, I kind of want the map. I want the game complete. Like,
It's not a map, it's a poster.
yeah, that's true.
I don't even think there's a map on it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't have one, so.
But yeah, but it was
I
like
don't know.
$30 more for that insert, and I'm like, if you're already spending $100, what the fuck's $30 more? Like, oh wait.
Well, it was $30 more if you bought a complete copy with the poster. Just
Right.
the poster, the only thing I could find was like $55.
I was like, you know what? happy birthday, pal. We'll pass. So I didn't pick it up, and I'm kind of like, man, I still really want to Chrono Trigger. Like, ever since we've played it, I've been enamored by this game. And literally the next day, I'm sitting at home just flipping through Facebook, and a store far, like, an hour and a half away, post they have one on DS for $55. And I'm like, immediately text Nate and Barry, like, hang on, am I seeing this right? And I'm like, all right, well, they posted it literally like 2 minutes ago. I'm calling them. So I call him. I'm like, hey, does that by chance have like all the answers and everything? And the guy's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Any chance you can hold it for me? Because I'm driving from about an hour and a half away. He's like, yeah, no problem, bud. I'm like, great.
See,
like,
that's
perfect.
the crazy part to me is
Yeah,
like these
never
stores
hold.
now, because like there's one that's maybe 2-3 hours north. There was something that I desperately wanted there, and I called and pleaded. I was like, please, like I am like 3 hours away. Can you please hold this? And they're like, no. We can't hold it. You'll just have to hope it's still here. I'm like, y'all an asshole, okay?
Yeah.
And the stores don't hold shit for you no more.
Mm-mm.
So the second you told me that dude was like, yeah, I'll hold it for you, I'm like, damn.
I know. I was like, I can't believe
That
this.
man deserves a medal. Like,
It gets crazier though.
Get him a birthday gift.
I know. It must have been because like I ended up not just picking that up. I picked up a bunch of other shit.
homie walked away with another
Bro,
stack.
I walked away with a stack of. But he was like, if you ever need anything held, you just let me know. I was like, bet, buddy, if you got shit like this, like, hell yeah.
They're going on the rotation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I ended up picking, like, NEX stuff in the box. I know you only said 2, but, man, I scored, so we're going to go over it briefly. Metal Gear, complete in the box on Famicom, like, beautiful copy. Gunstar Superheroes, the sealed copy that was, like, cart price. The Black Bass on NES, an NES fishing game I've been looking for actively.
You've been crying about Black Bass for ages. You finally got one.
Because the last Mega Score, when we went all over town up north, that's the game I went up there for, that and Castlevania Chronicles. So it kind of hit me full circle, bro. Now I got my big green bassy boy. He's supposed to be black and he's green on the box, but we won't go there. Yeah. And, you know, I'm part of the Two Worlds Club now. I got the Two Worlds Collector's Edition.
Nice.
So jealous.
Yeah, I want that.
Not a jealous person, but damn, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
man. It was a great score. And, like, the Chrono Trigger on 55, like, that's a cool collecting story. Like, to find that game for, like, damn near half off nowadays.
The third?
Yeah. Complete.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad I passed on that one for 109 literally the day before. Like, very cool collecting story. Like, super happy.
Oh boy, got his birthday present.
Yep. Yeah, and look at that. I get to get this guy gets his birthday present after all. If somebody else didn't go in and grab it immediately afterwards. So Barry, what have you been playing? What'd you score? I know you got some scores with me, bro.
I guess the playing and the scoring go hand in hand, but
You got a birthday present too.
did I get a birthday present?
I got you a super late birthday present.
Brian, okay.
That goes with what you've been playing and
So,
what you picked up.
okay, so as a group, we all play Battle Royales pretty regularly. It all started with, like, PUBG, right? And then we're mostly on Fortnite now, but this season of Fortnite, it's just, like, not. The Battle Pass, there's nothing in there I want. They don't even have anything licensed, except for Attack on Titan. I don't really care about Attack on Titan, so whatever, so we haven't been playing it. So I go over to Brian's house one day, and they're like, oh, the new map on Call of Duty dropped, and we used to play Call of Duty a long time ago, but I was like, I can't play this game with no more with you guys, because y'all get so salty. Like, it's so mad to the point where people are like shutting the game down and like force quitting, and I'm like, bro, I cannot do this, like yelling at each other.
Look,
So I stopped playing it. So they're like, oh, the new map, and you know, Brian over here is trying to convince me to play this game, and I was like, all right. So we sat there and like played multiplayer to help level up a weapon. I'm just slaying people with this chopper gunner. I haven't played Call of Duty in forever. The chopper gunner match was pretty lit.
That's what sold you.
I know. So I looked at Brian. I said, look, I was like, you get paid more than I do. So if you want me to play Call of Duty, you got to buy me the copy. And he did. So
my girlfriend was eternally grateful too. She's
yeah,
like, Barry got it. I'm like, yeah.
she was literally like, I told Brian he better pick it up on Tuesday before it goes over to your house. He's got to go look before we go to the movie. And I was like, good Lord.
She doesn't like playing with me for the same reasons Barry was talking about previously.
So
I promised her I'd play with her, and I have barely played it because
She tells me every day.
I know.
We've played.
Been busy.
We played for a while last night, and it went relatively well, all things considered. Like, we had a couple DCs and some lagging, but nothing that made me think that my friends were throwing their stuff at their houses, which is how it used to be. Gunshots bullshit. It's broken. He's got to be cheating. I mean,
Why do I do this to myself?
These are back in the days when they updated and you had Invisible Men running around.
That's
like,
the thing.
there was some legitimate stuff, but
Now,
I was just like, man, y'all need to chill.
That one was a horribly toxic game, and I'm not super toxic. Like, I'm not usually a yeller screamer, but that one brought out the worst in me, I will say. Like, when motherfuckers are, like, literally, like, getting a winning cinematic on the helicopter and they're all fucking invisible, like, that shit would piss me off, and, like, I would rage. And, like, not really, like, I played Counter-Strike, I didn't rage in Counter-Strike, like, not a rage gamer, but that fucking first Modern Warfare, like, I don't know what the fuck it was about it, dude.
How about the stimming?
Warzone.
Literally,
First
when you're
Warzone? Like,
the
dude.
circle's literally the size of a quarter, and you're like dying. Like, where is this guy? Like, he must be going through
And
these
you
gas
see
masks.
the kill cam and he's like
just
literally
stimming himself
invisible.
over and over. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I did get a little pissy sometimes.
We'd be playing and someone would die and be like, "It's such bullshit," and then it would be me and I die, and I was like, "Bruh," and that's all. I'd be like, "Bruh." All
or
right.
just, like, fucking kick you randomly.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I'd be like, "Bruh, I got kicked."
I'm just passionate. What can I say?
Half the time I was dead anyway, so like I can't be mad at anything. I would
see
just
it.
I would land and get shot and get down and be like, "All right, guys, I'm dead," within the first 5 seconds, and then get back up, and they survived long enough for you to come back, and then I parachute down, but I can't control the goddamn parachute, so I parachute my ass right into the stupid ass gas, and then try to make it out of the gas, and then die in there too, and I was like, "All right, that's fine." So I guess I've been playing Call of Duty for 2 days, but I have been trying to search for the Devil May Cry games. I had Devil May Cry as a kid. I played 1, 2, and 3. I had them for the PS2, and I liked them a lot. But I want to play Devil May Cry 5 before Final Fantasy 16 comes out, because the combat director is the same person for Devil May Cry that's doing it for the Final Fantasy. Problem is I don't know what's going on in the Devil May Cry story, and I don't want to jump into 5 without knowing, which people say, like, oh, you can play it without knowing anything, but, like, that's not how I roll. So I was able to find the 3 on the collection for PS4. 5 is an interesting one, and I have been keeping my eye on it, but the physical copies for Devil May Cry 5 for next gen, PS5 and Xbox One X, Xbox Series X are
not confusing.
Oh, I know, right? They're out of print, or they're low print, or you can't really buy them new anymore. Xbox, you can find some new copies at some actual retailers, but PS5 is impossible. You cannot find it anywhere. So I ordered a used one off of GameStop, but they're notorious for just sending you discs, so I was afraid that that's what was going to happen to me. Ended up they sending me the whole case, but found a copy of that out for like $20, and the price is starting to spike on it because it's getting increasingly difficult to find, and that's the only physical version of that on next gen, is a Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, which now doesn't seem like they're selling in the stores anymore, just like Guilty Gear Strive. Like, you can't find that physical for new anywhere. If you want to buy that new, the prices are kind of stupid from retailers, especially on Amazon. Amazon always does the crazy stuff.
That, and you don't know if you're getting the right region when you order it.
Yeah, so
I will say
that was the thing too, is the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. There's PAL copies everywhere, but the NTSC one is just super difficult for me to pin down. Like, there are copies on eBay that you can buy, but the prices on them were more than I wanted to pay at the time, so I was like, let me do a loop, and if I can't find I ended up finding 3, which was surprising.
We found that Peggy one also.
Yeah, so the first one we found, I pulled it off the shelf, and me and Brian were I pulled it off. I was like, "No, May Cry 5!" We're both in the aisle just like, "What?" And people were looking at us weird. And then I looked at it again, and I said, "Fuck, this is the Peggy one." So I slapped it back on the shelf, and then I took a look, and right under it was another copy, and I said, and I pulled it out, and I was like, "NTSC!" We're like standing in the aisle being like, "Whoa!" Like freaking out. So I ended up being able to get them all. Devil May Cry 4 was the difficult one, actually. Can't find a copy of that anywhere.
We used our demon powers and summoned that bitch.
So we went around a loop. The last store, before we rolled up in the parking lot, I said, pray to the Devil May Cry gods, gaming gods, whatever, please have this one. Because we hit so many stores that day. We're talking like used stores.
Every store in the city.
Every store in the city without going like an hour out of our way. I said, please, God, let this be here. Like... I found one copy with the cover was shredded, like torn in half. I was like, I'm not buying that. So we get in the store, and they have 2 copies of Devil May Cry 4. Both the collector's editions. One was the PAL, and one was the NTSC. And I was like, wow, a score. So I got the PAL one because the steelbook is way cooler.
Dope. So cool.
I suppose that's my collecting and playing. So I think I'm
found out you have superpowers.
Yeah, I do. I guess there is a Devil May Cry god.
Yeah.
That's who I'm going to pray to constantly now. So I'm halfway through the first game. I didn't realize the missions were so short. I looked up, it's got 23 missions, I think. And so I'm playing through the missions, whatever. And then there's a couple of them where I didn't realize they were like, oh, you have to get to the end of this before your item expires or something. So it would be like 2 minutes, a 2-minute mission. Or there was one that was like 20 seconds, if that. I don't know how I did it so fast. So I'm like halfway through after like 3 hours of playing. I didn't realize it was so fast. I don't think there's a difficulty in the first one. I don't think there's difficulty change where you can play like easy.
It's been too long.
It's been
medium
so
or
long
hard.
since I played the first one. I want to say when you beat it, you can unlock a harder difficulty.
I think that's the case because it didn't ask me when I started the game, but I think there is a mode that you can unlock after.
I feel like the farther the series go, the tougher it gets. I don't feel like the first one was as hard.
2 was the one where they had to stink about it because they re-released it and they made it easier.
I'm not talking about 2.
Yeah. I know there was some
I'm not
weird
on 2
difficulty
yet.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, people say 2 is not good. People don't like 2. People don't like 2 and 4. I remember playing them as a kid. I liked them all.
Yeah, they're not as bad as
I didn't like how Dante looked in the third one.
So story-wise,
that was my gripe.
but you don't play these games for the stories. You play it for the...
Tell me, what did I just say?
Yeah.
I'm playing it for the story.
Yeah.
Who's got problems, but it's not as bad as everyone says it is, honestly. Like,
So that's kind of a what you've been playing collection combo. So I'm on the Devil May Cry hunt. Nate, what have you been playing?
I've not had any pickups recently. I've had a weird little block of time when the boys been game hunting. I've been home taking care of some stuff, so I haven't really picked anything new up. I've bought some digital games lately, but that feels like a really gross topic for this podcast. But in my defense, they're only digital, so it's the only option to buy them.
Hey, some games are only digital, so
Yeah, so
I do have some that I have because I mean, especially with the Nintendo DS, that's kind of a big topic right now too. Is like they kind of are turning somewhat collectible because, say, for example, I don't mean to cut you off, but like the 25th anniversary Pokemon DS came with the codes for a digital copy of Red and Blue. So now that if you have them unused or they're on the console, it increases the price of it because they're unavailable on a shop anymore. So the relevancy of digital exclusive content is kind of turning collectible too.
which is fine. I'm not anti-digital. I'm anti-full digital.
After this week, I totally am anti-digital.
Well, we'll see how that shakes out.
What happened this week?
Developer of the Warface series, My Games, all of their games just magically disappeared off of not only the marketplace,
Warface?
but your owned games also.
You're thinking Warframe, but Warface.
It's
it.
a cheap free-to-play bullshit.
Oh.
The 360 version was
360
amazing.
PC version's GOAT status, okay?
Who publishes that?
It's called My Games. They're a
Okay.
Russian studio, but literally...
I know-
Here's the thing. If you buy a digital game, like it gets delisted, whatever, it's supposed to stay in your library, disappeared from the library.
5 games.
Well,
guess who bought
some
all
people
5
have
of
been
them?
having that issue with Sims lately. Have you seen
Ooh,
that?
no.
Yeah, Sims is all
Sims
fucked
4,
up.
like so EA has their own launcher and people like there was this one woman who was like, I just like restored my Sims 4. I have all of these packs. I've spent so much money because this is like the only game she probably played. So she's like, I went in today to play it. It's not there. It says I haven't purchased it. It says I haven't pre-ordered anything. I called customer support. They said they have no records of me ever making any transactions through this account. She's like, but I can literally go in here and pull up a history of it.
But it's so convenient to have digital games.
Yeah, so there is definitely...
You know what's way more convenient? Getting off my fat ass, going to my shelf, pulling it off, and throwing the fucking disc in.
Are you kidding me, Brian? You getting off of your ass to go put a disc in?
Okay, let me rephrase that. Having a big stack of games next to my Xbox that I can swap out.
Warzone. It's already installed. You guys want to play that? For now.
Go ahead, Nate.
But yeah, so there's a couple games that are being delisted off the Microsoft platform. One is called Lemons Gate, I think. It's Lemon. It's LEMINS. Lemons.
Have you played it yet?
No.
It's actually really interesting. I don't mean to interject.
No, please, because I got much to talk about. So I haven't played it, but
Yeah, concept was great. Execution, So basically, you get one. It's round-based shooter. So it's basically like 1v1 or 4v4, where you get a 30-second window to like make your move, kill the other players, or play the objective. And then the loop starts over. But it's almost like a Ghost in a racing game where that first 30-second move is active while you're controlling the second life, and then the third, and then the fourth. So eventually it turns into like a full-scale 8-player lobby, but it's you the whole time. Super interesting.
Yeah, I was reading some forum posts about it before because I got to play it on Windows and on Xbox for the achievements before they shut the servers down, but there is like a very small dedicated fan base that swears by this game. Like if it would have got the shine it deserved, like it's very unique and fun. So I purchased those. I'm excited to play it. It's unfortunate the servers are dying for it, but that's kind of the age we live in with online games. Another one I purchased is because the studio is making this game is republishing it multiple times under different languages and giving different achievement stacks for it. So they're being investigated by Microsoft right now for abusing the achievement policy because they're putting the same game that you can beat in about 20 minutes out.
What is the achievement policy, though? Because if they found a technical loophole...
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So for years they didn't give... It's not as bad as like... There's not shovelware like the Nintendo shop or... Sony kind of cracked down on it. They did have a problem. They kind of were like, this is ridiculous. So, like,
I mean, if they're getting their cut out of it, who cares?
It's about quality. You don't want...
I guess.
Brian, talk about the cat game really quick.
Yeah, let me talk about a game I quote played. What the fuck was the name of this? Abab's Animals.
Okay, there's no way that the shovelware on Microsoft Store is any worse than Steam.
No, they don't want it to be Steam, though. That's why they, like...
They don't want it to be Steam.
They don't want that... I want to find a fun game.
Steam is a PC monopoly at this point.
Yeah, but they don't want the shovelware on there. Like, they don't want the clutter.
Negative
so they don't want the peasants coming in and soiling the castle.
Yeah.
No, they don't want Abab.
Yeah, Abab's Animals. You stare at this 3D cat model for 15 minutes and get 1,000 gamer score.
And it's $10.
Dude, okay. If they're getting their cut, who cares?
I understand both sides.
See, okay, my confusion is like, trophies and achievements really don't get you anything.
No.
Makes your EP bigger.
They just scratch the itch of your brain that wants to see a number get big, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't gain you anything. They don't gain you any type of like, oh, we're the official Microsoft achievement hunter, like #1 in the world, whatever. We have like prize money and stuff. This doesn't do anything. So why are they so cracking down on these people who are allowing you to stare at a cat and get an achievement score that doesn't do anything, but we're still going to make money off? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
I think it's like
if the achievements actually gave out rewards, like okay, once you hit 30,000 gamer store, you get a $10 gift card, and they bloat the store like
Microsoft
that.
Rewards
you can do that through Microsoft Rewards. I think that's probably part of it.
But if you get an achievement unlocked, do you gain anything towards your rewards?
50 points.
And what do the points do?
You can redeem a $10 gift card at the end of the month if you have.
So your gamer score is directly related to.
Technically, it's not
rewards.
like
it's not your actual
way more
gamer
ways
score.
to do it, but
yeah, it's
it
like
can affect it.
It can be your Bing searches. It can be answering trivia. But yeah, there is gamer. If you get every day, you can get 50 points for an achievement.
Like I get points every day just for playing on the PC that go towards my Microsoft Rewards, just for watching
That's what I'm saying. If you just launch Bing and they give you points, then what's the difference of allowing some dude to make a cat game that you're going to make money off of anyways?
It's like the Atari effect where they don't want so much crap out there where it looks like a kid's console.
Then wouldn't that just be censorship in a sense? If you're not allowing certain people or certain genres,
that's the thing. So they'll allow you to have the game out there. Just adding the achievements on top of it is what violates the.
So they won't let you put achievements on it.
So they have like ID Xbox games, which are like indie games that are like people create, and you can upload it on the Microsoft Store, but there's not like shit attached to it.
So here's my thing: is I just looked it up. Microsoft allows Windows app developers to get 100% revenue. If you develop a game, they automatically get 12% of a split cut.
Which is good for the
because it used to be 30%. So Microsoft did everybody a favor and said instead of taking 30% of your profits, we're going to take 12. Okay, that's good. That encourages people to make more games, right? So if they're reducing their profits by over 50% and then still after that taking away games that they'll make profit on, also while admitting their hardware is sold at a loss, you're just giving away money, which
one dude made this.
To a corporation like Microsoft, that's not a lot of money, but then you compound that by everybody else doing that, that's a lot of money to be lost, which is arguing about, well, you can't release the same game in multiple languages. Who cares? Y'all still making money off of it.
So that one was at least a game.
My thing with that one, at least that's a policy thing. So like the Abs Animals, okay, they found a loophole. So the Microsoft policy is like, we want you to have multiple languages supported in the same game without releasing it. And what was the name of that game, Nate? One Step After Fall. Okay, so they have a Windows version and an Xbox version. You can get achievements both of those. That's fine. Microsoft's policies, they don't want you to release the same game with different languages having a separate stack of achievements. So like this game, for example, I did it on the Xbox in English, and then there's an Espanol version. They want you to have like a language patch, or they want you to have subtitles or translation.
How much is that game?
I think it was $5.
$5. Okay, so $5. So
the German version comes out next Tuesday.
The $5 game, they're saying, well, instead of releasing this game multiple times for $5 extra a piece, you need to put a patch in there to where everyone's only paying $5.
Yep.
Here's the interesting thing.
Who cares?
Is that a new policy? Because BioShock 2, or the first BioShock, I'm sorry, had like 9 stacks because there's a Russian version.
Well, see, that's where it gets different. That's for really physical games. They don't have this policy. It's only for digital storefront games.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also, I know there's some censorship stuff with BioShock in other regions too. So
Yeah.
I know Wolfenstein
Right.
now doesn't, but back in the day there used to be like different version for Wolfenstein 3D because you couldn't have the SWAT stickers in the German
Yeah,
one.
but
Right.
what's the fun thing is, this indie developer can't make a single game with multiple language packs and charge $5 a piece, but big AAA titles can charge you $3 to $5 per DLC pack. And then there's like 40 of them, and
Dead or
that's
Alive
fine.
can exist in the same marketplace.
Yeah,
Or loot boxes
exactly.
can exist, and that's fine.
Hard to argue.
And there's a
Or
weird
battle
thing, too,
passes
'cause,
can
like,
exist, and that's fine. Or
it's
they
not
can
like
just
they're-
refresh the shop whatever the fuck they want.
My
Come on.
My argument is, if this One Step Falls game, people like you and me, Nate, are the people buying this game. They can
This is
sit there and say it's some indie walking simulator bullshit all they want.
This is such a small
They know
population.
exactly what they're doing when they're releasing a Spanish version one week, a German version next week, a Portuguese version after that. They know what they're doing. Like, it's for Gamerscore people like you and me. Why not?
What you said, it's not a huge number, 2,000 people.
Exactly.
That's not a big
A
number.
very small population
That's
of
most-
people.
let's
There's
see how many
Gamerscore people
it
that
is.
hate this shit. I think
Yeah.
that Microsoft wouldn't
What
give a
did they see it as some kind of superiority? Well, I didn't
Yes,
cheat.
absolutely.
Yes. Oh,
Man,
yeah.
your number means nothing.
No, it's all
Exactly.
pointless. So the only reason why Microsoft's looking at it is because I think people got angry and complained to them enough.
Oh, boo-hoo.
And
Trust me, as
You
someone
can't
who
be-
suffers from this mental illness literally every day of their life playing Xbox,
Oh wow, this sounds
arbitrary number.
like a really familiar topic of does my lifestyle affect you? Then why
Yeah.
are you complaining about it?
Seriously.
I think it's.
Good lord.
I don't think they would care if people didn't complain about it. And like a large corporation in 2023, you've got to like at least say you're acknowledging it. People are complaining to you.
Capitalism.
I get
well,
both
you know what you
sides.
can do is you can say, you're dumb, ban them.
Or don't buy it.
Or just don't buy it.
Don't buy it. I mean,
it
protest
doesn't
it,
bother
bro.
you.
I see both
They're
sides.
not forcing you to buy
Personally,
anything.
I bought it and played it. I actually kind of enjoyed the story for that.
It wasn't
game.
horrible.
I thought it was
yeah.
actually good.
I've played way worse, stupider shit. That's what's funny to me. I've literally played games where you can get the gamer score in literally 2 minutes. So like your achievement system was broken since Avatar: The Last Airbender days.
Which is 360 PS3 era, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
you literally push back
The
and then
beginning.
the B button for literally 5 minutes. Boom, unlocked every achievement. You don't have to play the game. You don't have to beat the first level. You don't have to get to the first checkpoint. So they sit there and hold these indie devs to like the arbitration. It's ridiculous.
All right. We could keep going into this, but I think we should move on.
Yeah,
a whole
we need to
episode.
move on.
Yeah.
So I played that game and bought those games.
I'm so sorry this took so long, but we have to move on from this topic because this could be
Passionate.
literally an entire episode.
During
by
Warzone, I said I was
itself.
passionate. God damn it, I meant it. Sorry, Nate. My boy, go ahead.
It was a 20-minute game. It was interesting. It was about a guy dealing with loss. You're kind of in a spirit world. There's multiple endings and stuff. It performed terribly on PC, I will say. The console version is supposed to perform pretty well. It was like Unreal 5 assets and stuff,
Had
so
no
it looked
problem.
pretty, but like it performed the shits on Windows. That seems to be a problem with everybody, not just my PC. So, but yeah, we've heard enough about this game, I feel like. But $5 support your indie studios, guys.
for until they get banned from Big Daddy Microsoft.
And then
I
I'll have a
don't-
rare Xbox with it installed on the
Oh
hard drive.
I personally don't think
Bro,
it
this
is-
is Flappy Birds.
It is.
I personally
Man.
don't think anything's gonna happen. Like
They found a loophole. Good for them. I get more gamer score
from
from it.
here. Like, yeah, suckers like you and me will buy it.
Take
Like,
my money.
Yep.
Who cares?
Moving on up the leaderboards, baby.
so let's transition to the topic at hand today. 45 minutes later, weird accessories for consoles. Can include anything: controllers, memory cards, inexplainable things like something Barry picked out today. But just want to go over a few in our collection. Something we all have that we contribute to this, and something I would like to actually collect more of. I've been fascinated by the Wild West aspect of, You kind of never know what you're going to see for what generation. I remember as a kid in the 16-bit era kind of seeing... The first one that I saw was the big stupid ring thing for Genesis, and like the motion controller, but it was like a ring you had to build around your living room.
What was that thing called? It has a radical name. Damn it. The Sega Activator.
I remember seeing the Sega Activator and being blown away by how like ridiculous and impractical
what the hell
this was.
Is this?
Yeah. So
you can play Mortal Kombat. You can throw a kick, and they throw a kick on the screen.
it does not work very well. Spoiler.
I'm not shocked.
But ever since I've seen like as a child, I was like, man, there's crazy stuff that exists with these consoles that just shouldn't. I've always like kind of been drawn to this. I want to collect more. I don't have as much as I would like to as far as like crazy weird accessories, but I feel like it's a topic we can revisit here.
Dude,
and now.
It looks like a Star Trek teleport pad. That's what it looks like.
It's a Stargate you stand in the middle of. Yeah, but just kind of go through a few from our collection today, and then maybe talk about one that we'd like to get down the road, because we all kind of are drawn to the weird and unnecessary. We're all kind of that collector in a way. Even Barry, to an extent, has some weird stuff. So
very, very, very slight.
I don't know.
This is so up my alley, though.
Okay, well, the amount of things I have versus you guys is not happening. I got like 4 that I could pull out and be like, look at this weird
That's
thing.
because if you see a Wii fishing pole, you'll be like, okay, it's a Wii fishing pole. Me and Brian are like, dude, look at this Wii fishing pole.
I'll say this is extremely geared to my collecting habits. I just love the eccentric and weird shit. And someone being like, what is this thing? Like, this is so up my alley, it's not even funny.
I just don't have the space for it. I don't have the space, dude.
I technically do, but I don't. But that's what kind of makes this fun. Brian, you want to start with us off? Or
I can.
Who's got the biggest item here?
The Rolling
Steel
Rock
Battalion. Here or in
yeah,
general?
okay, Nate, you start with the biggest item. We'll go biggest to smallest.
All right, I guess I will start this topic with the largest fucking controller ever assembled.
All right, now look, I do want this.
So
I don't have room. I sat here and said I don't have room for nothing, but I want a
room for
freaking
this.
Steel Battalion controller. That's what I want.
I've been wanting an excuse to talk about this game anyways. I intend to do a Is It Worth It episode on this game so Brian can experience it, because Barry and I have both played this. The Steel Battalion controller has a name. I found this out during research for this episode. Internally at Capcom, and it's called the Mega Jockey 9000.
Jesus Christ. It's the most Capcom shit I've ever heard in my life.
It's amazing.
So if anyone unfamiliar with what Steel Battalion is, I'll give you a very quick summary, because we're going to talk about the controller more than the game right now. But it is a mech simulator. It's more like a tank. Don't think Gundam where they're like super fast. This thing's like a giant fucking tank. And when I say simulator, I truly mean that. So this controller has over 40 buttons on it. There's lights, sounds. Some of the buttons are as innocent as a windshield wiper to get the dirt and debris and water off your visor. And there's buttons that eject your ass out of the cockpit to save your life, because the game has permadeath. So
it's got pedals too, right?
So all in all, we have 44 buttons you can push, do a sort of different things, which is insane because like they all actually do something. So it's very intimidating when you first look at it. There's a left stick and a right stick. It's kind of like your throttle and your steer. Oh, there's a speed throttle, which is like a shifter in your car. You think like a stick, but it's like a speed mechanism. It's like
an airplane.
Yeah, like a throttle.
Huh.
There's a dial on it. There is the big ass red eject button, which kind of stands out. And then you have foot pedals. So there's a gas, a brake, and it's not a clutch, but it's kind of like a quick turn. So this was released by Capcom. Japan got it first, obviously being Capcom. It was in September 12th, 2002 for Japan. We got it in November 21st, 2002. So very quickly this sold out. This wasn't made to be mass produced. It sold out super fast. Sold out so much they thought about, well, maybe we can make a little more. So there's 2 different editions of this controller, so a lot of people don't know. The first edition that came out, it's got green face buttons that light up. It's Xbox, they went green. Second edition's blue. I don't see as many in person as blue buttons, but there are a little bit more of the blue button ones than the green button ones.
Which one do you have?
I have the original green button one. I was fortunate enough to find this locally at a game store for a very good price.
I want a blue button. Because I like blue.
I understand that. I want both, which just seems like really selfish, but at the same time, like this is so cool. It's probably my favorite thing that I own as far as like a collectible. I want to talk about experiencing it for a little bit. So like Barry, not even huge in the original Xbox, but I brought this over. We played it one time and like had a day of it. And
so this story, Nate brought this over. Literally, he's got the box and everything. Grab the box out of his car by the handle. Snap the handle.
Oh, God, yeah.
Snap the handle. The handle's broken on his box now.
Can't explain to you how gaudy this box is. It's so gigantic.
And then he brings it in. We play in it for a while. We're done. I tried to get the disc out. My Xbox eats the disc. I said, oh my God. I had to do like the little paper clip with the button on the bottom so you could like force eject it out. I have not put a single disc in that Xbox since then. I think the little rubber band thing needs changed out.
Yeah,
on
it's an easy fix. Like,
but
that was a pimp day. Like the limited Mountain Dew Xbox with Steel Battalion. Like
man,
we were showing out.
But I was just like, I literally wouldn't come out. It was just like, and we're just like, oh God, please.
You were so sweet. You were like freaking out, and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. You're like, dude, I'm like, it's all right. The controller's not stuck in there. Like, we're good. That's the expensive part.
True.
Like,
I do see Steel Battalion by itself sometimes, but I was just like, this man already broke his handle on the way in, and he was, the disc is gonna get broken. This is like freaking out.
Going back to Warzone really quick. I did not freak out when my handle broke. I didn't freak out when my game stick. I'm a generally calm person. It's that fucking game. Anyways.
Oh my God.
Continue. I'm sorry, Barry.
No, that thing was awesome. I had like, we set the controller up on like a coffee table so you could like sit and like tuck your legs under the table, like in like crisscross style, and like play with it on the table. I think I was able to manage to make that suit walk like 5 steps before I fell over. Like, it is hard to control.
That's the thing I want to like emphasize. It's a simulator. It does not play like a video game. It plays like if you're really piloting this fucking thing. And you and me both tipped it in the hangar once. Like,
yeah.
Literally. So it's definitely got a learning curve, but it's intimidating. And like, I'm not intimidated by games. We're all pretty experienced gamers here. Like, this thing was intimidating as hell. And the difficulty in the game alone, but it's learning the damn controller and just assembling it, sitting on a huge ass table, and like, here you go. I would imagine if someone's never heard of a car before and you just threw them behind the wheel, like, get in there, boy. Like, what am I looking at?
Except with more buttons.
Except with more buttons. It's like flying an airplane, but you're a tank while you're getting shot at. So, Brian, I know this is like super high on your wish list.
Yeah, it's one of the last like banger Xbox games I need, and I did have a sealed one, but we won't go there. Yeah, and the shipping container.
Look, I'm just saying, I will rob people.
Well, you gotta know where they are to rob them. But
unofficially,
yeah.
I won't rob people. I promise.
Cutting that.
No, yeah, let's just cut.
Microsoft will investigate us for.
But no, yeah, this is definitely I would say top 2, top 3 Xbox games that I want / need. I would love to have both versions. Trying to go for a complete original Xbox set. Definitely want both versions. Mine was green just for transparency. But
yours was sealed.
Yeah, and the shipping crate. The Capcom one, and it has Steel Battalion logo stamped on the side.
Does it say on the shipper crate like what color buttons it has, or what does it look like?
No, you can tell by the there's a version number in the Japanese on the side.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. It had like Steel Battalion tape across the top of the shipping container. Like it's sick.
And like custom printed tape.
Yeah, it was a very cool. Even the shipping container is cool for this box. But yeah, man, it's super unique, interesting game. I've never played it. I just hearing you guys talk about that one day, I was like, damn, I want to play this even more. Like, it's an experience when you play this thing, which is one of the cool things about these peripherals, right? Like, playing this game with a controller or a Kinect, which they tried to do, it's not the same, man. Like, the fact that you can get this proprietary controller for this thing to, like, enhance that experience is kind of one of the reasons why I like collecting this stupid shit. Like, big hunks of plastics that are worthless down the road's my jam. I've got so many instances, but like this is like the crown jewel of peripherals, especially for the original Xbox, a console that I love. So this has my name just all over it.
I can't even think of anything more complicated.
There's no way.
Racing sim setups, like they can get expensive, but by theory they're pretty basic.
Yeah, you know how to drive a car.
You got your 3 pedals, your steering wheel, your little clutch thing, a couple extra buttons and triggers, I guess. But like this is like a 3 big panel setup that wraps around you, and it has a bajillion buttons on them.
It's hard to describe in audio.
Flip switches and
am I mistaken too that you
crazy.
can support 3 different monitors with this game? I think you can.
Yeah.
So this game supports.
On an Xbox?
Yeah, you use the system link and you can like
Good
do
Lord.
3.
Like Capcom really
Windows.
showed out with this game. When it came out, it was $200. I mean, 2002, that's fucking steep. But still now, if you find this controller for $200, like my God, just buy it. But yeah, it's I think it's really cool. Like that era, especially like PS2, Xbox, GameCube to an extent. There's a lot of like experimentation from developers and
They just
stuff.
did so much gaudy stuff. They never do gaudy anymore.
No, I think Guitar Hero kind of killed gaudy, like in a way.
The age of peripherals is definitely
Which
dead.
is crazy because like it
I'm
was
not gonna say that.
gaudy was extremely like Guitar Hero was extremely successful and then turned cringe.
It's because they oversaturated it.
Activision.
And that's kind of like the charm with this game. It is very limited. There wasn't a huge output of these. Even when they made a second batch, it was still pretty limited. And it's original Xbox. It was a Japan design game, so it's like that's already not super successful anyways. They weren't really making this to make a huge franchise. They made like, we want to do something crazy. We want to put the most badass console controller we can possibly ever manufacture, and they did.
Yeah, if you ever want to see it, you ever go to a con and they have a Steel Battalion meetup scheduled to be there, like check it out because they have just a whole insane amount of people bring them.
Topic I want to talk about with this controller specifically really quick is the mod of the Steel Battalion subreddit purchased a prototype controller that was pitched to Capcom to make this.
Wow.
And he's going to mass produce cheaper versions because recently restoring the original Xbox servers, there's about 17 to 20 people that play this game pretty regularly online still, and we're trying to expand that. I'm too intimidated to get on, but like I do have my setup ready for it. I want to play it. I'm active on the subreddit, but he's trying to find a way to mass produce it for cheap. It's not going to look as pretty as because the one that comes,
he's going to have to crowdfund it.
With this game is so beautiful. I think it's kind of like, hey, I want to do this, and he kind of shoots you a.
Almost like a.
And it's gonna look like a cardboard box compared to like the real one. You know what I mean? It's bare bones, but like the fact that people even care enough to do it, like, is so cool. The fact that people like. I remember Brian and I went to a convention. There was like a Steel Battalion meetup, and I didn't have mine yet. And I was like, dude, I cannot fucking believe how awesome this looks. And I can't describe the sensation of playing it. It's kind of unlike any other game I've ever played. It's not fun's the wrong word. It's just so unique and exotic and overwhelming for sure. Like we didn't get past the 5th level when we played it because it was.
I don't even remember getting past the first. My memory's really bad.
The first level is like you're training, and then you get invaded while you're training. Spoiler, but I remember we panicked. And I actually pushed the eject button indoors and fucking smashed my head against the ceiling and died. And like, the game has permadeath, so like if you die on the 5th level, you're starting all over. So if you don't eject in time, like it will fuck you up. But it's cool. I mean, the level of detail in this thing. Even the eject button, it's not just a button. You have to like flip open like the fire hatch and then push the button. And it's cool. There's just so many.
There's a lot. We'll have like plastic flip covers that you have to flip open before you flip a switch as like a secondary safety measure or something.
So badass.
Nothing feels cheap on it.
Stuff.
The cat won't eject you.
Like even like
the cat can't come by and step on your eject button.
No. So even like the throttles, I guess you want to call them, like the joysticks on it, like the rubber all around it, so there's like rubber protecting it, and there's like it's 8-way, and you can feel each way move. It feels so quality. It feels like you're driving like a Benz of a fucking controller. It's so crazy.
I want one so bad. I really do. Like, I can't say that enough. It's literally like everything that I encompass collecting in one game. Crazy, weird topic of conversation, original Xbox. Like, it's so up my alley, it's not even funny. And I don't have one.
That was one of the very few things in the past that I had an opportunity to get, and I got it taken out from under me from a dude who was like, well, I'm the manager.
Ooh.
And I'm like, you don't even like this game.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the box. It was $300. Oh. In box, everything. I was going to buy it. And he was like, no, I'm thinking about buying it. And I'll get first dibs.
Ouch.
Broke my heart.
Damn.
Broke my heart.
But yeah, look out in the future. We're definitely doing an Is It Worth It episode on Steel Battalion because the more I can talk about this game, and like I really want Brian to experience it. Me and Barry had a blast. It's hilarious. And like it kind of takes some effort to set up because like Barry said, you have to be conscientious of like having enough space for the 4 pedals, and because the 4 pedals are they're heavy as fuck and they're gigantic too. They're not.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those floor
metal.
pedals. Yeah, I forgot about
they're
that.
They're fucking metal, so you don't have to worry about like breaking them and shit. Like this thing is really durable. And it's got ribbon that kind of like attaches the side that mounts like the main console in the middle. So like I said earlier, it's just super quality, and I think it's by far the coolest controller ever made. Like definitely the conversation piece of my collection, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have stuff that's more expensive, more valuable, more in quotes rare, but like hands down my favorite thing I own as far as gaming is the Steel Battalion controller. Like I'm fortunate and happy to own that. So I wanted to start with that one. It's finally my excuse to talk about it. So It's Two Worlds, Steel Battalion. Like we said, we're starting a podcast. Like I can talk about these two games. Bet.
Brian, what's yours? Because I know it's bigger than whatever I got.
Yeah, man. And it's funny because it's another controller, but in that age and time, this is like kind of for your peripherals you got. You got controller accessories or you got controllers. Going from one of the best, coolest, unique controllers ever made to one of the shittiest, unique controllers ever made, I brought the LJN Roll and Rocker. Infamous.
What's it for?
The NES. And it is made by the legendary LJN, which has a horrible stigmatism in video games because of the quality of items they produce. But if you know a little bit of background about the company, it makes sense why they would do something like this. So I know everyone's probably familiar with LJN because of the Angry Video Game Nerd and his disdain for LJN, but they were a toy manufacturer before they were a Nintendo subsidiary that made, games and accessories for Nintendo. So if you look at this thing, and God, I don't even know how to fucking describe this. It's a, quote, controller that you stand on top of, and it's like kind of a skateboard that you roll around on.
It looks like an exercise equipment.
Yeah.
It's those balls that have a platform on top, and you have to balance. It's a balance ball.
Yeah, it's basically a balance board, exactly. But it's got like a mercury balancer in it that knows you're going left or right. So
Mercury, you say?
Mercury, so it can kill your ass too. If you don't slip and break your neck on it, you can die from mercury after it cracks.
Or slip and, tangle yourself up in the cord and maybe choke to death.
Well, that's a cool thing too, right? So it's a controller, but you still need to plug a normal NES controller into the front of it because there's no buttons on it. So it takes the purpose of having a controller away. You still have to use the controller.
So the NES was the era of them having too much ambition and not enough knowledge and technology to make anything happen.
So,
like the amount of things that you have to do to get some of this stuff to work is ridiculous.
Speaking of work, this thing barely does. So the gaming historian, he's got a really good video on this. You guys should check that out. He tries playing Mario on this thing because he's like, hey, this is literally like a left or right game and I have to push the button to jump. Let's try this. And it's rough.
Oh no.
But hey, he gets to the first level and he's like, all right, challenge averted. But then he's like, let me try some LGN games. And they have what's the skateboarding one they have? He's like, this is perfect. Like, it's aimed at the same audience. No, because that requires like pinpoint accuracy for moving up, down, left, and right. And this thing is not accurate. And it's a giant toy, man. That's the thing. So like LJN, they started out as a toy manufacturer and they made great toys. They made the WWF figures, which if you're familiar with the big LJN
rubber,
they're great. They're beloved.
Classics.
They're collector's items nowadays. Like wrestling fans love them. They're great toys. The thing is, they saw the success of Nintendo, who also, let's remind everybody, started out as like a card/toy company, which a little interesting parallel there. They're like, hey, this video game thing's taking off. Let's start making games. So they created a games division, and then they grabbed licensed games. They have a lot of Spider-Man stuff like Home Alone, Jaws, Karate Kid.
Back to the Future is like a big one. Yeah,
they sold really, really well, but Nintendo's policy was you can only do 5 games a year. So they eventually were like, well, screw it. We're going to say, screw the toys. This is keeping the company afloat anyway. But when you keep regulating its profits, so like, let's make proprietary controllers and accessories. And we're a toy manufacturing company. Like, we can come up with cool, innovative things. And during the 89 CES, they unveiled the Roll and Rocker. And unfortunately, every other manufacturer unveiled different controllers. They revealed the Advantage and the Turbo. Like, so many different controllers came out that same year. And everyone was like, what the fuck is this thing? Like, this is what we're supposed to use. The motion controller came out, the Power Glove, like, all that same year. So this thing was already like archaic when it came out, and it was like, it's a cool skateboarder radical toy. Like, it's aimed at 89.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's literally, they tried to make like a skateboarding controller because skateboarding was big back then. Even like the box, I have a boxed one. I'm pretty happy to get because you don't see the box very often. It's this kid in like these chucks with these rolled up jeans, like with this skate pose. Like, it's rad. But it was $40 also back then, and it was like, it's a big hunk of plastic for $40. Like, that's as much as
that's a lot of money.
NES games are $40. So you could go with your mom and be like, buy me the Roll and Rock or buy me an NES game. Which one is every kid gonna grab? It's a tough sell.
Well, apparently somebody grabbed the Roll and Rock because you got one.
Not enough, because literally a year after it came out, you could buy them for $9.99. There's like pictures on I found where it's literally just like rows and rows and rows of them at KB Toys for $9.99. Yeah. So we'll go from one of the best controllers to one of the worst controllers. But
think about it, this thing did work well though. Like, I love skateboarding, so I'm like, I kind of want one of these because it's so gaudy and stupid.
Well, I mean, they even did that with the Tony Hawk ride, and it still didn't work well, and that was decades later.
Continuing the tradition.
Yeah, so that thing's super advanced. This is super primitive. Like,
that's the thing though. Like LJN, they were a toy company, and this is more of a toy than a controller. Like, hats off to me because like the ambition, and that's one of the reasons why I like the stupid shit. Because even if it doesn't work, like,
innovative. Yeah,
like the thought process that went into like, let's try doing this. It's cool. It's unique to me. It's
kind of like
it's kind of hard to say it's innovative when it gets unveiled the same year as the Power Glove.
Right.
So.
Kind of like reinventing the wheel. Like, what's wrong with the NES controller? Like,
but also, man, like I'm a toy guy, and I love toys. I have just as many toys and action figures as I do video games. So this kind of crosses like both genres, man. So it's pretty up my alley.
Like 100%, Nintendo is the king of crazy, weird accessories and stuff. Like the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the Wii, like Mega.
I think specifically with the NES,
Switch,
also.
even now with all the third-party unlicensed shit you can buy for it. Like,
yeah. But even like the NES, I think it was truly the time of like brand new innovation, and the Rollin' Rock is that in.
Rollin' Rocker's sick, bro.
Yeah.
I know it's horrible, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's something about it, man. Like I said, now it's notorious, and now they're kind of expensive because of the Angry Video Game Nerd drinking a Rollin' Rock on top of a Rollin' Rock. But yeah, it's. I'm glad to have one. I got it for cheap too. I think it was with you, Barry, when I picked this thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, the box is kind of trashed on it, but just to find one with the box, I'm super grateful to have one.
Trashed or thrashed, bruh.
Oh yeah.
Good lord.
Jeez, we have to move on now. Barry, talk about the first item you brought today.
Well, I'll just talk about both of them because they're so small as it is. But first off, we have the this incredibly molded memory card
A collector's item.
by Interact, right? It's the Lara Croft Collector's Edition PlayStation 1 memory card. Mine is numbered 3,703 of 200,000. So this is super limited, guys.
Dude, ultra rare.
Super limited, ultra rare.
It's that 90s
collectible item only. So it looks neat. It looks like Lara Croft. She's got a gun. Her boobs aren't pointy though.
What's from Tomb Raider 3? So they weren't.
Okay, yeah, that's
pointy.
true.
Yeah.
It's Tomb Raider 3, you know, so we've had some advancements.
A little more rounded.
But we were looking it up right before this, and they've made a Duke Nukem and
Bill Goldberg.
Goldberg? Okay, and they have the Duke Nukem and the Goldberg have memory cards for the 64, but Lara Croft here is not on the Nintendo 64.
Exclusive, baby.
Yep, so it is only going to be on the PlayStation 1, but
They really captured her likeness.
yeah, it is just it's weird because like you shove it. Okay, so the 64 ones are fun because you stick them. Oh, you stick them in the back of your controller and they kind of pop up above your controller.
They're looking at you.
Yeah, they're like looking at you. And then this one, you know, you shove inside of the system and it's just Lara Croft sticking out in a weird.
Like in a fucking
sticking straight out.
when they give you like when you go in the tube and they take your X-rays.
The MRI machine.
MRI.
This thing is so badass.
Oh my god!
Like this is like what I love about weird collectibles and stuff. Like this thing is so gaudy and impractical, but so awesome.
Well, especially in the mid '90s, like you found collector's edition, special edition memory card of anything and everything. Like the amount, especially of the Japanese exclusive, specific, you know, officially licensed whatever themed memory cards, they're absolutely insane amount of colors and ones, and there'll be like a special edition. I don't know. I don't even know if it exists, but special edition Xenogears memory card, and the only difference is the label. It just says like Xenogears on it. Like it's not even anything special. So this one's like completely molded. Please look it up. The Lara Croft PlayStation 1 memory card.
Like, the shape is insane. It's
We're gonna put it on our socials. Like check it out.
Because it's literally like it's like they cut a memory card in half and then stuck this weird. It's like
molded.
It's like a half of an action figure, but a
Yeah.
quarter of one because it's not 3D
No,
all the
dude,
way.
it's like a Christmas ornament where they cut the string off and stuck a PS1 memory card.
Yeah,
on the bottom.
honestly, yeah, it's like a Christmas ornament, and they just shoved a memory card on the bottom of it. It's exactly what that's like. That's really funny. I didn't even think of that. But it's like a 3-inch memory card.
It's the most gaudy, awesome thing I've ever seen. Like, where'd you find this, Barry?
Someone just found that at a store, and I said, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
Give me it. I've spent like $10 on it.
Dude,
Instant
I want
purchase
one.
for $10. Like,
Yeah, I
so
want one.
awesome. We were actually looking up like ones in packaging on eBay, and it's like the quick facts on the back, like hilarious. It's so 90s. Like, I love it, man.
It's got her like height and weight and shit on the back. It's just fictional.
My other item here is, and I can't find these anymore. They're really difficult to find as it is, but they're Spectrobes. Spectrobes is a game that Disney put out for DS, and then the third one's on the Wii. So it is like a brand new original IP Disney property. Like, that's not based on anything Disney did before. No shows, no movies, no books, no nothing. Like, this is made for a game. And I would liken it to Fossil Fighters in Space, where these aliens pop up and you have to like fight these guys off, and you have to revive aliens from fossils. You have to dig the fossils up just like Fossil Fighters.
Wow.
And then you have to wake the fossils up, regenerate them like Pokemon does, where you put the fossil inside the machine and now you get a ancient fossil Pokemon. It's kind of like that.
Huh.
This sounds awesome.
But these cards, it received okay. It wasn't like a
Never heard of it.
groundbreaking game, Spectrobes. But these cards they're kind of like,
Oh.
this.
Y'all know
What
what
is-
that is once you.
Do you guys
once you
know
hear
that
it.
that plastic that if you like look at it from one angle or like turn it left to right, it like changes images,
Oh, what's that shit?
and it's
called?
like ribbed, but it's very fine.
That sound. You just got to do that sound again. Everyone knows exactly what you're talking about. What's it called? Hang on.
It's textured.
Vin
No.
Vin
It's
something.
got a name. Yeah.
Oh.
What
Fancy
is-
name?
Whoa, what is it called?
I'm googling.
It's not lenticular.
No, that's like the moving image.
Well, anyways, these cards are like they're very bendy, but if you like fold them in half, they're gonna stay creased. They're pretty rigid. They're like hard plastic, but they have an image of like a monster on them, or some of them have items, and it's got little stats on there. Like, this guy's the Valicroma, and he looks like a beetle that's also a tank, and he's yellow. But there's also like variant colors of them. And so what you do is you take these cards that are the exact size of the DS touchscreen, and there's something in the game where you can put these cards on the touchscreen, and there's little holes cut into various parts of these cards, and there's numbers next to these holes. And so you tap the screen in the order of the numbers on the card that you've overlaid on your screen, and that inputs a code for you to get the monster. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So
wow.
it's like a code system, but it's a peripheral for a code system. Like, there's
With overlays. That's crazy.
yeah, they're kind of like physical overlays for your DS screen, for your touch screen, and this is like I want to say, it's so strange to explain, but
Yeah, there's nothing else I can think of for any game. It's kind of like it.
It's like an Odyssey.
Yeah.
it's like if I don't know, you had a treasure map and you had to have a decoder, and it's like the only way you're gonna know what's what is if you lay it over the treasure map, and it's gonna show you exactly what you need. It's kind of like a code decoder, and then each one is different. You tap them in the order, you get the code. There's the code numbers online. You can find the lists of them. You don't need the cards anymore. It's kind of archaic, but it's like a fun twist on it. There's 3 sets. There's 3 games. So each set came out with each game, and once the new game came out and the new set came out, they stopped making the old set. If you bought the game new, you got 4 random cards from the set, and then you got 4 random cards with the set that worked with that game. And then if you wanted additional cards, you had to buy them direct from Disney. They didn't individually pack these.
Wow.
They didn't give them to any retailers. They
I was
never
gonna
marketed
ask.
them.
Yeah.
So you had to
Interesting.
buy them direct from Disney. And they would come in a clear plastic. It wasn't even covered up. It was just, they were just in a clear plastic little thing, and you got more cards.
So you get a pretty big stack. So
So later, a couple years later, they released a collector's edition of the first game that came with, it was a big box DS game, and it came with all 38 cards in the first set, as well as like 2 additional bonus ones. So I don't know where I got these. I think someone just gave them to me because they didn't know what they were, and I was like, oh, Spectrobes, I know what that is. So I just have this stack of cards. I'm missing, because I just went through and put them in order, I'm missing maybe like 6, not too many of them, 6 or 7 of them.
is this pre-Disney Infinity?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
So
Yeah, I've never heard about it until you showed me these variants.
they're really weird.
They're unique.
But they're cool. So like there's like the first, I don't have the first card, but the first card has 2 variations, and then the next 3 cards are the same, or the next 3 cards are the same variation of that monster but in black. And then I've got 3 more cards after that of the same monster but in green. So like, you know, same monster but different color patterns or different versions or forms, and I've got items in the back. I don't know what any of these do, to be honest. I haven't played the game yet. I've just had them. But they're a really interesting way of doing like a code input system without having some kind of like cheat sheet or whatnot. It was hard to get the whole set because the games only came with 4 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I only have them from the first game. I don't have any from the second or the third. But these cards are very difficult to find now.
Those are the first
Nobody
ones I've
has them.
seen.
I've never seen them.
So they're not cheap online. I don't think anybody knows really what they're worth, to be honest. I don't know if anybody's actively looking for them or they're just putting them high as a hope and a pray.
Especially the cards being so hot right now. Like,
They're strange.
they are. And
They're not really trading cards,
No.
too.
They're
I mean, they have-
overlays is the best word for it.
They have set numbers and they have card numbers. Like, it says like CP01. I don't know what the CP stands for. There's not a lot of times that games have anything similar to cards that go with them. At first, I thought, before I realized what they actually did, I thought they had to do with something with the DS camera.
Okay.
So,
Like a QR code or something.
yeah, something like that, where it would read it as kind of like a, almost like an AR type thing.
Yeah,
Because that was a thing that launched with like every 3DS. That's what I thought they were when I first saw them, but it's like it's not like that. It's an overlay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I don't see them doing with games now any type of games that do cards that do anything with the games other than having codes on them that you're just like, redeem this code for the thing inside. But
yeah, it's kind of a bygone thing, especially like you can just buy digital. Like, I know like Yu-Gi-Oh's got a digital card game. It's like you buy a digital booster.
I mean, the only other cards that I know function for anything current are NFC cards. So they have the Animal Crossing amiibo cards.
Yeah, I've got some of those.
And then the first amiibo to come out was the Dark Mewtwo with Pokken. And that was an amiibo and a card. And they've never done a card amiibo since then, except for the Animal Crossing ones.
They're running on. Oh, never mind. It's on the bottom of the cereal box. Yeah.
What?
Mario cereal had like a
Mario one.
Yeah. It wasn't a card though.
What was it?
I want to say it was like
It's like a chip.
a chip
just
in the box.
Just
yeah.
a chip?
Yep.
They just had a chip floating around the bottom of a cereal box?
It's on the like face of it. You have to like boop.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's the only thing I can think of now that's even in relevancy is NFC cards for Nintendo, and they don't really utilize that too much. So
Once again, proving Nintendo's the king of just being like, fuck it, we'll try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to them. They're constantly letting people innovate for them, and like, I think if you look at the big 3, Nintendo hands down has the most. They're the longest running one, but they have the most like crazy weird accessories. And, like this game we didn't even know existed, and it's like, oh look, there's like these cards you can get for them. It's super cool, man. Like,
and it's fun because like they're called input cards, and the whole theme is like a science fiction space theme, and so they call them constellation cards because like the dots are kind of supposed to like make the constellation of the monster or whatever. Cool. So it's cool. Like, I've heard the game's fun. They just kind of died with the Wii. So we don't have stuff like this anymore. The only other thing I can think of is like with Invisimals. But they used the camera. And that's why I thought these used the camera too, because they came out in the same time period. But Invisimals used a camera and a little white plastic tray thing that you'd have to put down on a surface. And the camera would see where that was on the surface and like generate the animal in the game. And you would see, like, the camera seeing your table, but then your little animal would be on top of it. Kind of like the camera in Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but on the PSP. So that's kind of what it used to be. Where you can catch Pokemon with, like, a whooper sitting on top of Nate's head. I'm over here trying to catch it. It's kind of like that, but before Pokemon Go.
It's a gloom on my head. But
it's gloom.
Always.
Pidgey.
Drooling all over you.
Ouch.
Caterpie. Because all you could catch was Pidgeys and Caterpies for a long time.
Yep.
I thought you were making fun of my hair. Sorry.
Oh. Pidgeotto.
Nadioto. It's alright. I'm Snorlax.
Does anybody have any other honorable mentions of anything? Or actually, you know what? Go around real quick. What do you guys want? Because if I had to pick anything that I wanted that was a peripheral, other than Steel Battalion, we all want that. That doesn't count. I want... What's that freaking Dreamcast? Seaman.
Yeah.
I want Seaman so bad.
I want Seaman for so many reasons. The game. Let me rephrase that.
Actually, that's one I really want too. I know Leonard Nimoy like does the voice of the narrator, so like scratch that itch for Star Trek. I love Sega Dreamcast. It's crazy, unique, weird game.
It's a fish. I need it.
Yeah, it's
got a fish with a man's head, and you talk to him.
It's not a lot of stuff for all three of us like online where it's like want that, but Seaman's definitely on there. It comes in a big weird box too.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for horrible packaging too. Like,
oh yeah,
there's so much bullshit on my shelf that's like just dumb packaging.
It's a strange box, and the microphone is similar to like the 64 microphone. So the microphone for itself, I don't think is anything weird or strange for me to like mention as far as like specific, but it's very similar to like the Hey You Pikachu microphone. But like that game kind of needs the microphone to actually function correctly. Mm-hmm. Like you can't really play Seaman by itself and get the full experience of like not talking to this fish.
Yeah, it's just a Tamagotchi for your Dreamcast at that point.
So the one I did bring another one for the episode, but we can say it for another time. My dream console accessory. In the PS1, there's a Wu-Tang fighting game. I'm a huge Wu-Tang Clan fan.
Oh.
And there's a fucking controller that's shaped like the Wu-Tang logo. It's so expensive. I have the game.
I think it's wild.
The game's not super cheap, but the controller is like, even for like a rare
it was
controller,
only,
it's unreasonable. I think there is NTSC ones.
It was shrink wrapped only.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It's like weird packaging, and you don't ever see them. Mm-hmm. It's like people that have them don't want to get rid of them because it's a lot of crossover. Like
Wu-Tang people are nuts.
Yeah, it's a clan.
They're diehards.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
It's true. But yeah, that's definitely like my dream.
Nuts good. Don't come for me. I mean nuts in a good way.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of them. It's a lot of crossover for me personally. I have the game. I want to play it with the damn controller. I've only seen a black controller. Like I feel like they missed a mark by not having a yellow controller.
I've only seen the black one too.
I want to say black and yellow buttons, but I think a big yellow one would be super sick.
Yeah.
That's like my dream controller, though.
You already know what I'm going to say. This peripheral, it's not even a controller. It combines literally so many collecting aspects for me. It's weird. It's fishing related. And it's literally...
Naturally.
Yeah, it's literally you never see them. There is something called the Pocket... Hang on, I don't want to butcher this.
Just for a quick price point, the cheapest one available on eBay for purchase right now is $320, and it has 34 watchers.
For the Wu-Tang controller?
Yeah, that's just so steep.
It's a lot of money.
For a PS1 controller, looks horribly uncomfortable, by the way.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, so my item is the Game Boy Pocket Sonar. It was only released in Japan, but it's literally a fish finder that's functional for a Game Boy Pocket. Like, the box art's amazing. It's got a big old bass on it. It's all in Japanese, but it's got a giant float. It's like a literal fishing accessory for your Game Boy Advance. And it supposedly works. Again, shout out to Gaming Historian. Great video on it where he actually gets to use it and catches a fish. And like, I cannot tell you how envious and jealous I am of that. Like, happy for him. I think he's a great guy. I think his content's awesome. But man, I just see me doing that and just being like, what's after this?
Here's what's going to happen. You get that thing and I'll be your fish finder. I'm going to throw that little bobber out in the water.
Can you imagine? Like just going on the lake and be like, Barry, get the Game Boy.
Brian, I'm getting a reading. We got a big one.
I've watched people play it. Like, it's so crazy because it's primitive because it's on a Game Boy, but like it does work.
It's a real, fish finder.
Game Boy had I have a Game Boy camera.
Yeah, those are pretty wild too.
Do you have a printer or do you have paper?
I have a printer and paper in the box. My paper's sealed, but
the other cool thing about this, really quick, it's not just a sonar. It also has a full encyclopedia.
Yeah, the cart has
so it's pretty unique. It's a unique thing. It's like, it's educational, it's functional. I guess it's like officially licensed from Nintendo. It's like a real Game Boy.
Japan exclusive, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, they're expensive though. Like open ones are like, $175, $200.
There's so much crazy shit from Nintendo, and this
is the crown jewel, sir.
From them though. It's like a lot of these. There's crazy third party crap for Nintendo too, but Nintendo like also said fuck it a lot and put out some crazy shit too. It's super cool.
Yeah, I'll probably end up getting one day. I'll just be like, fuck it, it's fish. I need it.
I got my bonus.
Yeah.
How much do they run for?
Loose, it's like $175 to $200. Complete, whatever they're asking for it.
Yeah.
The box is really gaudy. Some of the components came like bagged. So there's bagged ones. There's one asking price for $1,000 where everything's sealed.
Oh, God.
It's that or like the sewing machine. I don't know which one's crazier for Game Boy.
Well, I know where you can get a sewing machine.
Yeah.
I kick it around often. We'll leave it at that.
How much is it?
The guy's asking $1,500.
Whew.
But it's...
For a Game Boy sewing machine?
Comes with a Game Boy.
My God.
I can justify anything to myself. Now, whether that's, acceptable and do I really love my living situation with
We're
my
talking
girlfriend
like
at the time.
mechanically. It's probably the only thing that comes close to rivaling Steel Battalion in size and
Complexity?
complexity.
Yeah, it's a literal sewing machine.
Yeah, I guess the bike isn't very complex, huh?
Oh yeah,
I forgot about the bike.
bike's
Yeah,
bigger.
the NES
Yeah,
bike.
it's
Yeah.
bigger, but it's a bike. Like,
Yeah.
you don't do
Ooh.
anything special with it.
What if? Just hear me out. Mount the Steel Battalion controller on the handlebars.
On the bike?
Yes. On a large body of water, so you can fish with the Game Boy sonar or riding your the Super
What?
Nintendo
No,
bike.
why would you? Okay, so you know those people
Talking
who
to Seaman.
you know who people who set up their TVs right in front of their treadmill, so instead of running outside, they can just play, like running through a forest, and they just run on their little treadmill, and the TV walks through the forest. But yeah, instead it's the Steel Battalion set up on the treadmill, and you have to fucking run while trying to steer this thing.
With the pedals.
And it's like not like you're getting this weird endorphin rush from like exercising, but you're also extremely stressed out and anxious because you can't pilot this fucking suit, and you're just screaming and running and yelling all at the same time and
Sounds like
sweating
Warzone.
profusely.
No, it doesn't randomly eject you. Well,
That's true. Well, hey, yeah, it does. I get dashed a lot.
so we're at
That's true. Nate has Steel Battalion. Nate also has a treadmill.
I'll bring the rolling rock.
So I'm thinking we can get this
We
set
can
up.
just open a gym at this point with the gaming
Yeah.
accessories.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're slacking.
Stair stepper?
We can make one. We'll figure this out. Have everybody sign waivers. Don't fall off the rolling rock.
Sign waivers. You have to buy us a new Steel Battalion if you break it. Forget the rest of it.
Yep.
So that pretty much concludes today's episode. This is a topic I'd like to revisit someday. We all kind of have more stuff we could share, and I had a whole list of stuff I could just keep pulling from. It's kind of hard to narrow it down, but I think the Steel Battalion controller kind of like picked itself. So we'll revisit this one sometime. Appreciate everybody listening. Before we close out, we'll give you guys a little preview of what's next. Brian, what do we got for the next episode?
Celebrity guest appearance.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
Pretty wild. Mr. 50 Cent will be joining us with Blood in the Sand.
Fitty himself.
That's right. Well, we tried.
You're gonna hear his voice
We tried.
on
yeah.
this podcast.
We got a soundbite from Fitty, so I'll leave it at that. Like, you got to tune in. He was in town signing liquor bottles.
Don't.
Made some moves.
What?
I got a clip, man. All right, you'll hear it.
Brian, you didn't even go.
What's happening?
No, but I got a clip.
A clip of what?
He's gonna be on here with us.
All right.
Mark my words. Tune
Okay,
in.
well, you know what? You need to provide this clip for me
Yeah,
so
I didn't know
can
about
put it
this.
in there.
I was gonna say he was in town.
I guarantee you, he introduces himself next podcast. I'll
Yeah,
put
he
it like
will.
that.
Yeah,
He,
there will be a soundbite. That's
I guarantee
true.
you, he's gonna introduce
oh
himself.
my god! So he's advertising for his brandy. So I have a bottle. I'm gonna bring a bottle of his brandy that we can drink, or is it cognac? I'm sorry, it's not brandy. It's
Yeah, it's
cognac.
cognac. And we're
So-
gonna-
Is it cognac or cognac?
Depends. 50 cents is cognac.
Fitty himself
Cognac.
says
This shit's
cognac.
fancy.
I'm not sure what he
This
says.
is cognac. This is fancy shit.
It's
Cognac.
fancy, yeah.
This is cognac.
Just cognac.
Pinky's out. So, anyways, it's a nice bottle. I had a friend pick it up for me.
Blood in the sand, though.
He signed it.
Blood in the
Is
sand.
Gonna
it worth
drink
it?
it.
Blood in the sand. I'm sorry, we got.
This is so fucked. Blood in the sand. We're
No, this is perfect.
gonna drink some cognac and play blood in the sand. Talk about it. Apparently, 50 Cent's got an audio.
He's
clip.
introducing himself. I guarantee you,
Too much,
he
Brian.
will introduce himself.
All right,
You'll hear Fitty.
that was wild. Join us for that one. Sounds like can't miss programming here. Thank you for everyone listening. If you liked what you heard and can't wait to hear 50 Cent speak, check us out on our social media pages on Budge Sprout. Sorry, I'm so starstruck from 50's presence. We're on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And that's at Collecti-Bros podcast.buzzsprout.com.
We also will be launching a Discord soon.
Really excited for that. Discord's a great
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
Barry and Brian been pretty hard at work at collaborating, making that look beautiful. So thanks, guys.
I don't know about looking beautiful. It's functioning though.
Discord, man. Discord.
There's a bot
community
that
makes it
gives you
beautiful.
bumps, gives you ratings,
Brian,
rankings.
why do you have your arms out flying?
This is deteriorating. Let's get this on really quick.
Like angels in the outfield,
That feels good.
right? Isn't that what they did? He just runs around the field and sticks his arms out. And
I have so many
flies?
questions. I don't know how you even know that. It's like baseball and Angels. I don't know what's happening here.
Okay, but do you know how many times when you watched because that was like a kids movie, right? You know how many times when you had a VHS tape as a kid, you popped it in, they showed you previews of shit, and it was always angels in the outfield,
As a fact.
always. So I know it.
Jesus Christ. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're at Collecti-Bros Pod on all of those platforms. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get updates when new episodes are posted. We love you. We apologize. We appreciate you. Can't wait to see you next time for 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. Had a blast with this one. Thanks, guys.
I might be drunk. Find out.
We all might be. Kind of
Yeah,
strong.
all
Like,
right.
none of us really drink it, so this will be interesting.
I
It's
don't
supposed to be
really-
very high quality,
I don't
though.
really drink as it is. Oh no.
So
At least I'm already home. Ha!
there's
Someone's
different
gonna
versions. This
die
is the
tonight.
Black Phantom version that we're drinking, so it's a good reference, Brian. I appreciate it.
Oh, there's gonna be so many references next episode.
Yeah.
I love 50 Cent. I'm
Me
a
and
huge
Brian are
fan.
both 50 Cent fans,
Yeah.
pretty big, so this will be a really fun one. And me and Brian have played this game before, so like, it's pure joy.
Well, I did watch that movie. Are we there yet? So.
That's Ice Cube.
Oh shit!
This has to end.
All
Bye.
right, bye.
Perfect. Perfect.